I expect so, but look, he is running, and I have to run.
If you drop out, is Trump runs out?
No, not now.
Several days later.
President, do you think there is any Democrat who could defeat Donald Trump other than you?
Probably 50 of them.
You do believe that there are?
I'm not the only one to defeat him, but I will defeat him.
Who else do you think could defeat Donald Trump, Mr. President?
All right, guys, so we got to talk about Sleepy Joe Biden, who recently made headlines for suggesting that the only reason he is in the 2024 race to be president, the only reason he is running for re-election is because he believes that he is the only person that can beat Trump. And it is also worth noting that he says that he has to run as if he's being forced to run by some unknown entity or force, aka his handlers, right? I mean, I think there's no doubt that Biden probably would prefer to retire and go sit on the beach, right, in Delaware, rather than to be president of the United States right now, because he knows that, you know, he is clearly not physically and mentally capable of continuing to be president. However, the woke powers that be, they like an empty suit, right? They like Biden because they know that Biden's not really running anything. He's not making any decisions, and he can be controlled, right? So I think that they're gambling with this idea that, well, maybe, just maybe, we can still win, despite the fact that Biden is clearly cognitively impaired and is struggling at his job, okay? I mean, he's struggling so much that Trump recently came out and said that, hey, I don't think that Biden's going to be the nominee in 2024. He may or may not make it to be able to be the nominee.
I ask you, when prominent Democratic voices like Maureen Dowd and David Axelrod and Van Jones and others are so critical of Joe Biden, and of course he is struggling cognitively, I can't think of, in the last couple of months, any appearance that he has had where he wasn't either mumbling or bumbling or stumbling or having no clue where to go, where to exit. Now, my question is, do you think in 11 months he will be their candidate?
I personally don't think he makes it, okay? I haven't said that. I'm saving it for this big town hall. I personally don't think he makes it. I think he's in bad shape physically. Do you remember when he said, I'd like to take him behind the barn? If he took me behind the barn and I went like this, I believe he'd fall over. I believe he'd fall over. But who knows? Who knows? But it was okay. And by the way, it was okay for him to say that. He said, I'd like to take him behind the... He could say that and everyone thought it was so cute. If I ever said it, they'd say, he's a dictator. He's a horrible human being. You know, it's a whole double standard we have, and not only in the law, but just about everything else, as you know very well. I personally don't think he makes it physically. I watched him at the beach. He wasn't able to lift a beach chair, which is meant for children to lift. You can lift it like that. And mentally, I would say he's possibly equally as bad and maybe worse. But I don't know. I will say this. He's got vicious people surrounding him around that beautiful Oval Office. There are people in that Oval Office that are evil people, bad people, smart people, young, vicious. They're communists and they're bad.
Yeah, so at the very least, I think Trump is on to something in regards to the people in the White House who are clearly Biden's handlers, right? He is not actually president in regards to who's calling the shots, okay? It's not him. It's the people around him, okay? They're the ones that are pushing the agenda of the Biden administration. Now, the problem with that, again, is that regardless of whether or not Biden's actually controlling things, the perception among the American people is that he's just simply too old. And it's not just his age, it's the fact that his age is affecting his ability to do the job. I don't think people are comfortable with the fact that we have unelected bureaucrats that are running the country and making decisions and essentially taking advantage of an elderly person who should be in a nursing home. And this has led some prominent liberal/Democrat figures like Charlamagne Tha God, for example, to come out and to demand that Biden step down as the Democrat nominee for president in 2024, simply because his approval ratings are in the tank. And part of the reason why his approval ratings are in the tank is not just the fact that they've been terrible, right? Democrat policies have been terrible. Bidenomics have been terrible. It's also because Biden's getting up there in age, and it's clearly showing and affecting his ability to do the job, which I think is something that people aren't really comfortable with. And I want to talk about that. But before we get into it, speaking of aging and that catching up with people as they get older, this is why the sponsor of this video is BioTrust. When it comes to anti-aging, we are all looking for that miracle pill. Generally, you need to try multiple products that target different areas of the skin to fully combat the appearance of aging. Some supplements may attempt to reduce wrinkles, while others may bring back firmness to sagging skin. Believe it or not, I have found a solution that removes the need for juggling with multiple anti-aging products. It's a special type of collagen, and it's better at maintaining skin elasticity, reducing visible signs of aging, and promoting a youthful complexion than most anti-aging products I've seen typically found on store shelves. Tens of thousands of 5-star reviews back up the notion that this collagen is not only a modern day fountain of youth, but that it also removes the need for us to use countless serums and anti-aging supplements. Most importantly, you can save 53% for this month only. Plus, for a limited time, you'll receive free gifts such as free shipping, a 60-day satisfaction guarantee, free VIP live fitness and health coaching for life, and a free ebook titled The 14 Foods for Amazing Skin, all at no extra cost to you. Go to healthwithpatriot.com, that's healthwithpatriot.com, or click the link in the description down below before this once-in-a-lifetime deal sells out.
So Donald Trump is currently running on a platform of dictatorship, and the only man standing in his way is President Joe Biden. Seen here looking at his own approval ratings. People have been questioning why Biden hasn't stepped aside, and last night Biden gave an answer that just raised more questions.
Now to President Biden's candid new remark on why he's running for re-election.
During a closed-door fundraiser Tuesday, Biden told supporters, quote, "If Trump wasn't running, I'm not sure I'd be running, but we cannot let him win."
And just a short time ago, John, he renewed his claims that he's going to beat Trump. Watch.
Do you think there is any Democrat who could defeat Donald Trump other than you?
Probably 50 of them.
You do believe that there are?
I'm not the only one to defeat him, but I will defeat him.
Oh, my God. This is Biden's ego talking, okay? If you think there are other people who can beat him, step aside, all right? I know you think you've got this in the bag. I know he thinks he's got this in the bag, but the polls say otherwise. I want Biden stepping in to beat Trump the way I want him stepping in to defend me at a bar fight. I appreciate you caring, but I don't like our chances. The point is, we don't need Biden to beat Donald Trump, just like we didn't need RBG to stay on the court, okay? Maybe if RBG had retired during the Obama years, we'd still have Roe v. Wade. Maybe. But people said, no, she needs to be here to protect Roe. And now, look, both of them are gone. It's true, they're both gone. See, the facts are, Biden's not getting any younger. He's not going to get any more popular, and he's not getting a new running mate. So please, Mr. President, give America the ultimate Christmas gift and step aside.
Yeah, so you see, they heard that, okay? Charlamagne Tha God begging and pleading with Joe Biden to step down, right? Your approval ratings are in the tank. The polls are showing that you should not be so confident that you can beat Trump, because the polls, right, are actually really showing that Biden is living in delusional land by thinking that he is the only person that can beat Trump, when it looks like he probably is the worst Democrat if they actually want to beat Trump.
If you take a look at Biden's approval here, Dana, in our brand new CNN poll conducted by SSRS, he's at 37% approval, 63% disapproval as he's about to turn the corner into his reelection year. And look at this number over time. You noted it's a numeric low, but he's been hanging out down here for some time. Look here. He starts going down after the Afghanistan withdrawal. That really took a hit in his numbers in 2021. There was this uptick here in his approval around the time of the 2022 midterms last year, where Democrats performed better. But basically this entire year has been a downward slide now to this new numeric low of 37%.
And how does this kind of compare to others who have served in the White House?
Take a look at his modern era predecessors. This was their approval rating at this point in their presidency, heading into their reelection year. And just note here, he's at the bottom of this list at 37%. Take a look here, Dana, at these three that are at the bottom here. What do they all have in common? They didn't win their reelection race. And so this is a real warning sign for Joe Biden. And take a look here at some of the demographic groups. 72% approval among Democrats. If you're below 80% usually of your own party, that's a warning sign. 36% approval among independents. Does not have majority approval among African Americans, nor does he with Latinos. 34% approval among young voters.
That's a big warning sign.
This is all
of it,
this
but
is
particularly
all a
that
warning
number.
sign for Joe Biden.
And if you take a look here, too, everybody sort of says, hey, I'm not too nuts about the possibility of this matchup. So we said, let's measure this one way. And here's how we did it. Biden against an unnamed Republican. This is just a referendum on Biden, basically. And look at this. He goes from being in a dogfight with Trump to being double digits behind. But then flip it around. Trump against an unnamed Democrat. Trump goes from leading against Biden to being down by 6 points against the Democrat.
Just a fascinating look at the state of the race with just a little under a year to go.
Now, of course, don't let the facts get in the way of Biden influencers getting upset with Charlamagne Tha God for essentially calling for Joe Biden to step down because it seems as if Joe Biden can't beat Trump. And, the Biden influencers are upset, and they're coming out to Charlamagne Tha God for his comments. Mainly because Charlamagne Tha God, who is woke, basically has not only been demanding that Joe Biden step down, but he's been criticizing Joe Biden for not doing enough for black people or not being woke enough to his liking. Okay, this is black liberal on black liberal violence here. Take a look.
Charlamagne, it's time to shut the up. Oh, yeah. Why do you tend to dip and dab into politics when you know you don't know shit? Like you and your nothing ass need to shut the up. Oh, my God. Y'all stay winging it. When the have you even paid attention to the Biden-Harris administration? Could you name what they've done? Because it seems like you're saying that, oh, Biden doesn't deserve the black vote. Well, you have to show your work. Why does he not deserve it? I can't name a president in my lifetime or yours for that mother matter because you older than me by many that's done more for the black community than Biden. You know, when we're talking about justice for Breonna Taylor, justice for George Floyd, and we had the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act get stalled in the Senate and the Senate failed to act to pass it, Joe Biden didn't say, oh, I give up, we don't do shit. He called on the Department of Justice to ban no-knock warrants, the same one that killed Breonna Taylor, and then the chokeholds that killed George Floyd. I don't want to hear this bullshit. And then it's the same like you that will come out here and say, well, remember, Asians got their anti-Asian hate crime bill. There's no been a anti-Asian hate crime bill. You're just as prejudiced as the people that you say you claim to be against. Look, it's called the COVID hate crime bill. And remember when y'all complain and complain and complain, well, what about the protection for black people? What about this, that, and the other? Y'all asses is 50 years way too late because we already have a hate crime bill passed by LBJ. And not only that, Biden passed the Emmett Till anti-lynching bill after 200 failed attempts. So I don't want to hear this.
Yeah, so that being said, right, there's no evidence to suggest that Biden is the only person that can beat Trump. I really do believe that despite the polls, the Democrats are basically relying on some juicing from big tech and censorship from the media. You know, the things that they usually rely on during elections to win, right? I think that they're relying on that, and I think they're just going to roll the dice with Biden if he can make it, because at the end of the day, having an empty suit in office, being able to control him is valuable, right? They value that. And that's why I think that Biden comes out here, he says things that suggest that he's being controlled. Like, oh, well, I really don't have an option. I have to run for president, right? He's either that or he has some type of hero complex where he believes just because he won in 2020 that he's the only person that can beat Trump, right? He has this hero complex that I and I only can take down Trump. When again, the polls suggest that that's just simply not the case. That if you dropped out, that Democrats would have a better chance, a much better chance of beating Trump. Again, it reminds me of the DeSantis people that claim that, well, DeSantis has a better chance of beating Biden, when all the polls show that Trump actually performs better against Biden than DeSantis, right? It's just funny how that works, okay? Oh, don't vote for Trump because DeSantis is better. He has a better chance of beating Biden. That's just not true, right? The data does not back up that claim, just like the data does not back up the claim that Biden is the only Democrat that can beat Trump. Right now, the data suggests that Biden is probably the Democrat that is most likely to lose to Trump, that he is the weakest link in the party, maybe besides Kamala, right? I think Kamala may actually be worse than Biden. But regardless, with that being said, I hope that Joe Biden stays in the race, right? I hope that Joe Biden doesn't listen to the Democrats that are coming out and calling for him to drop out. He should stay in the race. You're right, Joe, right? You're right. You are the only Democrat that can beat Trump, right? You're the only Democrat, okay? You should have that hero complex. Stay in the race, Joe. In fact, you should debate, right? Debate as well, too, okay? Go on a debate stage since you believe that you're so good, right? That people love you so much. You're the only person that can beat Trump. Stay in the race and show up to the debates, right? Show the world that you're cognitively fit to be president of the United States. In fact, you should do more rallies that nobody will show up to. Yeah, do more of that, right? Let your ego take over, right? Let your ego definitely guide you in regards to being the Democrats' nominee in 2024. Do that. Stay in the race, Joe. Okay? Please stay in the race. So, yeah, with that being said, again, I think that the calls for Joe Biden to drop out are going to get stronger and stronger and stronger. It'll be interesting to see whether or not he still remains in the race. I personally believe that he'll probably end up dropping out after the Democrat primary because Democrats don't actually really want to give voters a choice. I think he'll drop out after the Democrat primary, and then you'll have somebody like, I don't know, a Gavin Newsom step up. Who knows? They may give the reins to Kamala. I'm not entirely sure, right? Maybe the move could be to have Joe win the primary, which, by the way, right, the Democrats are basically trying to cancel their own primary in Florida. They're literally overthrowing democracy in Florida. Okay, they are suppressing votes in Florida. Something that, Charlamagne Tha God, hasn't really talked about. I haven't heard him talk about it. Maybe he has, but, he's not screaming loud enough about that, right? But anyways, maybe they'll have Joe Biden win the Democrat primary, and then they'll have him step down and say, well, you're stuck with Kamala because Kamala technically, I guess, was on the ticket as Joe Biden's vice president. You got to go with her. Maybe it'll be Gavin Newsom. I'm not sure. I just find it hard to believe that Biden is going to be the Democrat nominee in 2024. Maybe he will, maybe he won't. I personally hope that Biden is the nominee, right? I hope he is the nominee, and I hope he stays in the race, okay? Let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.